So for the few of you who are watching this as a re-upload, turns out that DICE and the Battlefield devs had responded to the backlash against the Santa skin after the tonal dissonance of the game has caused a significant amount of backlash. So once I cover that, I'll delve into DICE's response, so that'll come later in the video. Just a quick little aside and heads up. Anyway, here's the video. It would be an understatement to say that Battlefield 2042 has had a rough launch. If you go to Steam right now, it is still at a mostly negative review score from almost 64,000 reviews now, a huge amount of reviews, and that goes to suggest the level of displeasure that the community is feeling against this latest entry that people had really high hopes for, but the game in more ways than one fell short, be it because of downgrades from past games or technical issues that keep getting in the way, which is why on Metacritic now you'll see a low Metascore of 69, nice, and a low user score of 2.2, which I believe is lower than what I saw it at before. It was at 2.3 if I recall. But either way, it's not a good situation, and the game is losing players a bit quickly. The 24-hour peak as of today was 30,000, and the all-time peak was 100,000. Among the most contentious things about Battlefield 2042 is its tonal deafness. It just doesn't seem to know what it wants to do, what it wants to be. Does it want to take itself seriously in a setting where the world has been ravished by environmental cataclysms and whatnot, with a world that has been decimated and are fighting for resources and are warfaring as a result? Or is it trying to be silly, goofy, Fortnite-y, Apex Legends-y, Overwatch-y, and I guess more recently Call of Duty-y? It's hard to tell with this game, because you look at, say, the story intro for this game, and the tone is very serious, and it has some interesting lore here to tell.
I'm old enough to remember what that world used to be like. We had places we belonged. Country, community, family.
Have ravaged 50% of global shipping ports.
So the vibe I get there is, they hired a prominent actor to narrate this story bit that wants to add some gravity to the setting itself. And going to the Battlefield website itself, there is a whole breakdown of the lore: a decade of chaos, the rise of the no-pats, the new normal, the blackout of 2040, the brink of war, and there's some interesting stuff here, and people hoped that Battlefield would lean more into that grittiness, the same more grounded and gritty tone that Battlefield tends to go for compared to other first-person shooters. That's what's appealed many Battlefield fans to this specific franchise versus the other ones out there. But with 2042, a lot of Battlefield fans feel as though this entry is losing the Battlefield identity, and the Battlefield franchise as a whole is slowly starting to lose its identity with each new entry. And with 2042, especially contentious are some of the end-of-match quips that you get from some of the specialists and characters in this game, which feels like they think this is all a fun situation, like they're kids pretending to be playing war in the backyard or playing laser tag or something.
Did I go too far?
Come on, this is too easy. Don't be sad. This is just how it works out sometimes.
And this is just one video example. There are plenty of others like this one right here.
Oh, I think I pulled something back there.
Well. That was fun.
Ha! I told you.
That one always gets me. Here's one more video example for good measure.
That was something, right?
He looks so happy to be traumatized by war. And beyond its tonal identity, many feel as though Battlefield 2042 is losing its gameplay identity as well, with how stripped down or downgraded many classic features are. It just doesn't feel like Battlefield anymore, especially with the specialist system that forgoes classes and favors more Apex Legends, Rainbow Six Siege, Overwatch, Call of Duty style, hero-like characters with their own unique powers. I bring all of that up because the tonal dissonance of this game is further highlighted by some of the upcoming skins and rewards that will be made available for the holiday season, as reported here by Battlefield Bulletin in this Reddit post that reads, preview of the upcoming weekly mission rewards. The Battlefield 2042 preseason will last at least 8 weeks. Clicking on these images, you'll find a lot of Christmas-themed stuff, so let's check those out. So we have a tank right here with a Christmas-themed camo alongside reindeer on the side. You've got a helicopter that's also similarly Christmas-themed. And last but not least, there is this right here. They basically added a Santa Claus outfit and skin to the game that a lot of people are not happy by. That has not been well received at all by the Battlefield community, who is already peeved at the tonal dissonance of the game. This only serves to further exacerbate the issue, and a lot of people feel as though this is just not the right time to introduce something like this when there's so many complaints about the tone of the game and just the state of the game as a whole, which is why you're seeing sentiments like, I love where they put their priority, cosmetics, and not the actual game. This game is bad and getting worse, and Warzone Pacific drops in a week, and whether you love it or hate it, you're going to play for at least a couple of weeks. What happened to you, Battlefield? Many are expressing umbrage over how much more cartoony Battlefield is starting to become again, losing the Battlefield identity and chasing these trends that other competitive live services seem to be aiming for. Why do they think Battlefield players want this Fortnite cartoon stuff? And here's another response. These devs are out of touch with their community. They only listen to game-breaking issues. Here's another tweet from Bravo Intel that shows a close-up of the Santa Claus skin from a Reddit post. And scrolling down there, you'll also find plenty of grievances. This is the only reason specialists were introduced into the franchise, simply for money. They saw how Apex was successful as well as Warzone and went with it. What they failed to realize is that Battlefield has always been a class system with realistic looking soldier models. And going back to Battlefield Bulletin's tweet, you've got responses that also echo similar sentiments. Oh no, Fortnite skins, stuff that just don't fit in what fans expect out of a gritty Battlefield experience, which is what 2042 sets itself up to be. And then you dive into the game and then you hear the quips and voice lines and the kinds of skins that they're introducing, and that image kind of falls apart. Making optics worse is a report from Tom Henderson here, who's a writer at VGC News, who relayed, fun fact, these skins were in the March 2021 Q&A feedback sessions in which everyone voted them down. Good to know that those sessions were pointless. So even with the feedback that these skins should not be introduced into the game, that it was felt like they don't really belong here and they were just a little too silly for liking, they decided to include them. Now, on the other end of the spectrum, it is highlighted that these skins are free in the sense that there is a gameplay path towards earning them. This user also emphasized that this is seasonal customization for a seasonal time, and also noted that Battlefield 1 and Battlefield 5 also had some goofy elements introduced as well here and there. But the retort against that is that there was plenty of criticism surrounding Battlefield 5's cosmetics and its bizarre and kind of whimsical take on World War II, and not to mention the timing of this Santa Claus release. I think that has in large part to do with it. I think if Battlefield 2042 would have launched exceptionally well, everything would have been great, and people would have enjoyed the general tone of the game, and they would have kept that consistent from launch, and then added some goofy elements here and there, like a Santa skin for a seasonal event, people wouldn't have batted an eye. But I think it's the fact that the Santa skin comes directly after all of the woe surrounding Battlefield 2042, both in terms of regressions of gameplay and visual elements, all of the technical issues, you name it, and its tonal dissonance. Santa skin coming right after all that, I think that's what's kind of driving people to be so angry and just so turned off by the introduction of this skin. It just feels like the cherry on top of a shitty cake. It feels like it's adding salt and insult to injury. And so that's why even on Reddit, you'll see posts like, DICE, what are you doing with the game with over 15,000 upvotes? The timing couldn't have been worse. Especially with those cringe quips that have been widely criticized. Now we're getting cringe skins and people making fun of this with comments like, with a new after round quip, probably, ho ho ho. I mean, I wouldn't put it past this game, given the voice lines that I have heard from it. Others are in disbelief that this is being introduced. This cannot be fucking real. Many also think that the skin itself doesn't really even look that good compared to more creative stuff. Here's another Reddit poster who simply said Fortnite 2042, noting just the silliness and goofiness of a skin that seems to belong more in Fortnite than Battlefield. And scrolling down, there are people saying stuff like, so this is seriously in the game then? This isn't a meme? DICE expects me to be able to take the game seriously with literal Santa Claus running around shooting people in what's supposed to be a world where billions are displaced, natural disasters are destroying the planet, and there is about to be a massive world proxy war, and we're supposed to take all of that into account with Santa effing Claus running around on the battlefield. Holy identity crisis. And just tons and tons of posts today about this. New skins unlockable in preseason challenges, update number 3, the Santa skin, with people saying stuff like, F, here we go, the clown season has begun. The vehicle skins are also not being particularly well received. This is honestly just sad. Over 1,000 upvotes, 98% upvote ratio. I wonder if the skins changes the flares to sparkling stars. At this point, people fed up with that tonal dissonance, tonal deafness. The reindeer is a particular point of contention to some. I wasn't gonna bitch about the tank, but then I noticed the frickin' reindeer on the sides as I previously showed, which, yeah, it does look very silly in a Warzone-like environment, one that pretends to take itself as seriously as the story intro and the lore elements seem to establish. And then there are people poking fun with posts like leaked new skin found in the 2042 files, and it's just Team Fortress 2 Santa skin. And then going back to that Fortnite 2042 post, one of the responses highlighted the strange dissonance in tone. I have never seen such a strange juxtaposition in tone built into a game. It's really very odd. I would love to have seen the design discussions that went into this. Like, if you're gonna go goofy, go all the way goofy, because once you try to mix that in with serious elements, it's just not gonna jive very well. But even then, if you go all goofy, a lot of people would feel like Battlefield just lost its identity and it's just following those trends, instead of just being the best version of what Battlefield is known for. This finally brings us to the segment where I'll be discussing the way DICE responded to the backlash against these holiday skins and the tonal dissonance that they further create. The skins, by the way, aren't live yet, but they were accidentally leaked by DICE in the game itself, and in response, here's how DICE clarified this situation. They stated this in the following Twitter thread. Today, some of you accidentally got a glimpse of some holiday-themed cosmetics, and we wanted to help clarify their intended use. Here's a thread where we can help to share some insight. Development for live service requires us to work months in advance and enables us to have options when we reach key moments in our first year. So it would seem as though these specific skins have existed for a while in preparation for the holiday season in case they want to utilize them to sell some microtransactions. The statement then continues, today we have other priorities, and so whilst we have the skins, we presently have no plans to utilize all of them this holiday. We also create unique cosmetics for single-time use in special Battlefield portal modes to further enhance the fantasy and special events. Throughout our live service, you may occasionally encounter these mode-locked cosmetics, which don't impact the rest of the game. It provides all of us working on Battlefield with exciting new opportunities that lets us explore with more creative freedom than before. Having you all along for the journey is something we don't take for granted, and we'll be grateful to hear your experience with those modes. Separately, we'll be starting our weekly missions next week, where you'll be challenged to complete objectives and be rewarded with new skins. Once earned, you'll gain new items for your collection, and we'll have new skins available to unlock each week on the road to Season 1. So basically, this tweet is coming out and saying, whoa, hold your horses. This isn't what you think. This isn't a skin that we're releasing meant for the standard modes. It's specifically for maybe portal stuff, and that's how people are interpreting this. It is kind of vague. It doesn't really detail how the Santa skin specifically is going to be used. It doesn't specifically reference the Santa skin and whether that was meant to come out this year or if that's coming out later or if that's been scrapped for now. What's going on with that? On one hand, maybe people saw the leaked skins and misinterpreted their intention. On the other hand, some people are assuming maybe this is a damage control tweet that they're putting out there, seeing the backlash, seeing how people reacted to the leak, and now are backpedaling by pretending like people misinterpreted this. Maybe the original intention was actually to release the Santa skin as part of your standard modes, but then they backpedaled. I don't know, this is speculation territory. What I will say is that people do seem to be on board with the idea of having these skins be specific to Portal rather than the core Battlefield experience. Portal being where a lot of the crazy stuff can happen, where modes can be modified so that you can just do crazy things gameplay-wise, and maybe there some of the more unusual cosmetics are a right fit for. But the core Battlefield experience, many feel as though that stuff needs to stay grounded and, you know, as gritty as people remember Battlefield to be, instead of it slowly evolving into a more Fortnite-level, kind of lighthearted visual experience that doesn't quite match the franchise's history. But mainly people want this game to be fixed. Putting cosmetics aside, the fact remains that there's still plenty of key features missing and plenty of regressions that have not been fixed. That stuff still needs to be the priority. It's only once the game runs and plays well and is keeping the community happy that the community itself will be more open to maybe some of the more absurd skins, as long as they don't go too overboard with it and turn the core gameplay experience into a Fortnite-style, colorful, whimsical visual fest, which is just not what Battlefield stands for. So yeah, that's kind of everything you need to know about this Santa skin. Now, there have been some other developments, like the release of a new patch with over 300 fixes, and a major shakeup in the leadership of Battlefield, with reports of DICE's general manager leaving after Battlefield 2042's disastrous launch, and Vince Zampella, head of Respawn and who's playing a bigger role in EA's gaming division, sort of taking over and playing a more active role in the Battlefield series. I'll talk all about that in a future video, but for now, this is how people have reacted to the Santa skin. Overall, it has gone rather poorly for the game. Only time will tell what the future holds for Battlefield 2042 and whether they can somehow make a comeback, but the fact that with these AAA releases these days that we're always hoping for a long-term comeback instead of just being able to celebrate a game on day one of its launch, that's unfortunate in a sad state of affairs. But that's just one man's take. Let me know in the comments below what your thoughts and opinions are on the Santa skin. Is it a big deal for you in terms of the tonal dissonance? Do you not mind it? And what's your general experience been like with Battlefield 2042 for those who have been playing consistently? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and to be further updated on all things gaming news, reviews, and discussions, stay tuned right here on Young Yeah. I'll see you guys next time. Young out.